is a little bit easterly coming down from the north to the south. So a lot of options here, John. And from yesterday, we saw people were a little bit careful. Georgia Paul was taken. A lot of people going over to Pmco as well as, and it looked like Xbox were trying to control military base. So that seemed like a place most people were going. And they were pretty successful down there, getting across the bridge too.
The entity that was Seoul in the previous tournament, of course, they were always dropping Rozhok in the global finals, so maybe they're going to be trying to regain that throne. Georgia Pole a little bit less accessible on this plane path. We might see some teams drop onto some of the roads around Severny, maybe around the river as well, try and get into some of those vehicles and get it done that way over towards Georgia Pole, either north or south. Yasnaya, very much available. Kameshki actually is reasonably achievable here, so it looks like we've got a team headed that way as well. Military base, maybe a little bit risky. It is very late in the plane path. It's very close, so you can drop relatively quickly. But you don't have too much time. With the size of the circles, however, you can pretty much go anywhere. Milta, very available as well, but over towards Quarry, probably the least accessible part of the map.
Absolutely, John. And like you said before, Rozhok for Team Seoul looks like they are heading on over that way after all. If you're wondering who the additional members are to Team Seoul at the moment, or at least the members who have been replaced, Ronak and Awais, obviously Viper and Mortal remained in the team, but now we also have Frost and Regal joining them on side.
Yeah, unfortunately, one of them didn't connect to the games. They are playing as a three-man squad for now, but, you know, they're the champs.
They're the champs. They'll do it. They'll go right ahead with it. So, I mean, this is the three-man squad. This is kind of like solo squadding at home, but yeah, we'll see if what Team Seoul can actually do. 3 members is going to be a little bit tricky, especially on Wrangle. Not as easy to work with as it would be on Sandhawk, where you don't need as many members to operate within those confined spaces.
Yeah, you can see that the circle just popping up now, of course, northwest. Pretty heavy shift, actually, for teams playing in Milta. 2 teams actually dropped in Novo, so a little bit of a fight going on that way. One of the teams hasn't actually fully landed as well. Those rotations will come in. Everybody who made that early way towards Georgia Pole will be rewarded, but you can see already there's a scuffle over in Novo. There's 3 teams there.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams all battling this out right now, and they're going to try and claim this space. From what we saw yesterday, it seemed that most of the time 2 teams will stay and 1 team tends to bug out. So we'll see if some of these guys are a little bit braver and want to stick around for those firefights in the end, try and get a third party through. Obviously, people are a little bit underlooted in the beginning, so it really depends what kind of loot you drop down onto. Omega over here already taking a little bit of shots, and it will be blinding across. Nick already taking a lot of shots, though. This is not good for the team from Kerala.
Yeah, Blind and Maximus X following up with Trusty Process, all vying for Novo. This is quite interesting. Nobody actually dropped over towards military base. Everybody opting to go for these crates instead. I would have thought, you know, you look around you check it out, you see no one else going to military. It's great loot there. You've got C block completely uncontested. You've got a lot to do. And no one else was contesting for it, as I said. So maybe it would be wiser for one of these teams just to dip out, to just decommit from it, because you can run over there. You can just move. Even if you can't reach there on the parachute, you've got some time. You will be able to get those vehicles. The tricky bit, of course, will be watching for the cross over the bridge, but even this early in the game, you should be able to razz it through, and everyone's going to be moving up to that circle anyway.
Yeah, so it makes it a little bit less dangerous for these teams, would you say, having to come from military, because most teams would be preparing to make that move up towards Rozhok, towards Georgia Pole. Currently, we're just watching the teams have a little bit of a loot down. It looks like Blind and MSX are giving each other a wide berth right now. They don't want to take the fight right now. They know that things can go very, very sour very quickly in Novo here, because obviously what can happen is with the TPP, we saw it yesterday, you can lob some grenades and force people out from these corners and then just absolutely spray them down. So this, in my opinion, is pretty smart. You both get generally quite large looting zones to yourselves, even with 2 players there, and it can absolutely sustain them.
Just taking a look at the circle at the moment, of course, just actually southeast of Rozhok Seoul. They have been zoned a little bit away by Synergy Retribution in Rozhok itself, and they're not going to be able to claim that one just yet. Of course, Team RG a little bit closer next to them, just to the west, near ruins, in between there. 1 team North George, 1 team South George as well. The Kameshki squad hasn't moved just yet, but they've got plenty of time to do so. Everybody in the southeast corner, though, they're the ones in danger. They're all going to have to be rotating relatively parallel, and at the moment, we're seeing one team is split up. That's VLT. They need to make a little bit of a move away from that mansion or away from the bunker to try and meet each other up, but there's two teams very close to them who could prove to be a spanner in the works.
Yeah, because you can be sure, as we saw when this circle popped on the western side, that people will be knowing to kind of edge guard this eastern side as well, especially because people will start to move away from Rozhok, will start to move towards this eastern side or towards Gatka and towards the fields area. So anyone on this eastern side right now, they've got to be careful. Who makes the first move, or do you wait until someone's gone through and already taken the brunt of that edge guarding for you and then move afterwards? Like you say, though, VLT being a little bit split, it does leave them open to actually just being taken down whilst they're out there outside of the circle, but we'll have to see what happens. What I'm most interested is this squad up in Kamishki. This is a long route they have to take down for themselves. They could potentially go through Yasnaya, but there's already a team occupying there, and they can quite happily wait in those compounds inside Yasnaya, and with the third person, they could very easily see this squad coming down from Kameshki.
Yeah, they might just be able to do so. Gaming Hub are making that southward rotation from Kameshki, so we'll see if they actually hit up what looks to be potentially Lipovka. Maybe they're trying to just skirt around Yasnaya for now, which, to be fair, isn't the worst idea.
Yeah.
What I would probably recommend for them is actually to try and take control of the north. Although, to be fair, with the plane path, it's highly likely that people could have dropped on that northern bank, so maybe they don't really want to go for that. But they don't have that information. At the moment, though, one of the players from the team in Lipovka is going to move on up and see if they can find that one out. Everybody now starting to make that eastward rotation as everyone's exiting Novo as well. You can see this on your screens at the moment. This trusty process are the first to try and cross the bridge. Looks like they are going to be able to get away with it as well.
They're going to get right across there. They trust the process, you know, like they waited, they were calm about it, crossed the bridge, easy peasy. Now, for Elementrix down here on the southern side of the circle, they are currently in Primorska by the docks. They'll have a pretty clean and easy route through Gatka. Obviously, they've got across the fields there, where visibility becomes a little bit easier for teams to spot them as they're making that cross. They probably want to get themselves some vehicles and kind of razz it up through past Gatka towards Georgiapol on the south side there, towards the coast. VLT, they have got their vehicles in tow right now, so they will be beginning to regroup as we can see them just coming under the side of Severny and shooting range right now.
An interesting position coming out from Team RG at the moment. They left 3 people on the south bank near ruins. They sent a scout up north in the form of Don to try and see if they can have a little bit of a foothold on the northern side of the bank. This is a pretty decent position when it comes to this sort of circle, because it's split right down the middle by the river. You don't know where you're going to have to rotate, and having someone already ahead of you in the game there, that is phenomenally useful. So I'm really happy that they've tried to do that, although it is potentially a little bit early for my liking to try and hedge your bets like that.
I think so as well, John. I think what we saw from yesterday, at least from the very beginning stages of the days, what we saw is that if you try and commit to a compound or a city too early, what often happens, and like you say many, many times, John, it becomes very difficult to remove yourself from that area to kind of evacuate, because teams will have a bead on you. Elementrix now actually making the long cross. They are speedily making their way up towards South George. Currently, Seoul is still in it, though. I've made a pretty decent path, but they will be coming into contact with VLT very soon. No doubt they will hear those vehicles coming over the top side. Gaming Hood was spotted out by SGE, so it looks like they've just left them too, but Synergy, they're actually all the way over in Lipovka, as you can see on your screen right now. That was a save!
All right.
He saved him! That was excellent. I'm actually very impressed.
Team RG have actually regrouped now, so they've moved their scout from the northern bank back down south. Seoul, they've made the cross. They are now on the northern side as well, as teams start to coalesce into those sides of the map. At the moment, we're only seeing 4 teams north of that river. No one else quite yet made the cross, but there's still teams on Military Island. There's still 2 teams down there, down on south, so they will have to make that rotation pretty sharpish. 8-bit, they've been pretty sedentary for the majority of this game so far, and they're going to be pretty happy with that. It's nice to see a lot of these teams making smart rotations this early on.
Yeah, it really is. I think what we saw, it's very crazy to see as well, like seeing the differences in regions. A lot of people think that PUBG is a very standard game and that not much changes from region to region, but we saw Europe yesterday completely different to South Asia. South Asia very calculated, very calm, whereas Europe has some of those high top fraggers, but a little bit more aggressive. We're seeing kills in the first couple of minutes, where we're seeing, like I said, a little bit more collected players here in South Asia, playing much more cautiously, and I've really been impressed But there's the boy. It's him himself. It's Mortal. Check him out. Using the TPP to his advantage, waiting for these players to come down the roads, because that's where they'll be most visible. And you know this boy's got one hell of a sprint on him.
He's going to inflict his namesake on anyone who dares cross his path. We'll have to see just where they're going to be able to finish. But the circle has popped. It's a little bit further north of the river now, so anyone who did cross early is going to be pretty happy with this shift. It still can go back down south. It still could potentially even end on somewhere like Rozhok or around that sort of area. Do you know where I'd love to see it finish? A shooting range. I would love to see a shooting range finish.
Yeah.
That would be super exciting.
Shooting range is a really, really exciting place to go, because obviously as you get crunched further into shooting range, there could be some teams who hide on the sides where you can actually get the drop on teams because they're inside the dip area. But it also has so much crazy cover available to them. To be fair, I wouldn't want to catch myself down the shooting range. I'd probably place myself towards the back where I literally have a place to just stock up, whack the gun down, and flip out the stalls on it.
Synergy able to get out, and they're actually relatively close to the next zone, but they do have Gaming Hub, to contend with on that rotation on the northern side of the lake near Yasnaya.
Not a single player gone down as of yet, John. So this is pretty crazy as we're coming into towards our last phases right now. No team has a single kill. Very cautious of each other. What I'm most interested in, you can't see it quite on the map yet, but Polyana has just had about 1,000 teams coming in. 8-Bit is making a long rotation on the western side by the coast, so they're going to get a wraparound into George. And depending on what happens and where the circle actually ends up, they could have a really good position here, but they are entering a city very, very early, John.
Yeah, they're going to be making the rotation across the western bridge of the estuary, just inside of Georgia Pole. They do have Pain to contend with on the other side of the river, but you should be able to just get it across pretty quickly and actually take a dominant controlling position over on the northern side. 8-Bit was a team that we were very happy with their rotations last season, coming in from the Indian region as it was then. Of course, now coming to the South Asian region, they are going to try and make some similarly smart rotations, and it seems like they're going to do just that. The circle isn't pushing them in just yet, and they've got a nice plan.
As you can see on your screen right now, we do have the map up for you. Elementrix taking a very strong position up there on Everest. They are completely got it combed, so they're prepared for anyone trying to take it afterwards. We will be seeing down the bottom MSX just making their way into the circle, and obviously Blind have made a really long wraparound there from Novo, trying to get back in through Pachinki.
There's quite a lot of teams hovering around just on the northern shore from Rozhok. You can see there's 4 squads there, all stacked up. That's Team RG, Synergy, Hydra, and I think that's which team is that? I can't even see which team that is.
Completely blocked.
But there's 4 teams all grouped up in the same position there. Maybe having a little bit of a fight, but over on the southern side, as you can see on your screens at the moment, there still are 2 teams. There's the shift. It's heavy south, so everyone who moved north now is going to be unhappy, so it goes back and forth.
So 8-Bit, they took the risk there. It's not paid off for them, and now they're going to have to struggle coming down through shooting range. And like saying before, so many teams on the northern side, if 8-Bit don't make a quick rotation now, they could be very much caught out as they try and make it back in the circle, whereas all the other teams have already secured themselves some very safe compounds.
Trust the Process is going to be pretty happy, though. They've already got themselves a nice little spot, and everyone's evacuated from near ruins.
I'm really happy with how Blind have actually made this rotation here. I think what they've done is they've made sure that no other teams are around them. They've got the circle to the back of them, which means that they're going to be very safe coming to this basically southeasterly side of the circle, and they'll be able to just control that space. That's what they want to do. Blind currently going for a little bit of scout, waiting for his team waiting in the wings in the blue there. But look at this. All these teams on the top right-hand side of the blue as it's coming down, all circling down to the southeast. Blind could be in a bit of a pickle very, very soon.
Starting to make those rotations, though. Everyone is moving around the eastern side. Rozhok is going to be a hot spot. A lot of teams condensing over there. See 8-Bit making that rotation as well. They've already made their way down across the river yet again. They are going to be crashing, though, into... could be
0 degree now coming up on Blind now, though, John. This is the scary thing for them. Now the shots are starting to fly. You can hear them off in the distance. Teams have spotted one another, and you'd be surprised if they're not. There's probably 16 teams all in this one circle right now, John.
Yeah, they're going to be all starting to crunch in together. You can see Seoul, they're spiking out of this compound. They found this compound relatively early on. They're in one of the few that are still on the northern bank as well, which means they're going to be relatively uncontested.
Really good sight lines from it too.
No one's going to make the move across the river towards them. So if they can get across as well, they're very near a bridge, so they might be able to do it. That's going to work out pretty well for them. So nice spot for them.
We see Synergy E trying to crash the compound. Pain takes a lot of pain to the head right there. Does keep his helmet, which is pretty critical for him to survive in this next fight. First aid kits galore ready for him. Got 2 in the bag, so he should be okay. But Synergy E so far doing a pretty good job to keep them suppressed whilst they do res one of their players up. One player has actually finally gone down. Didn't quite catch that one.
Yeah, it's finally a kill coming on board. Blind taking a little bit of a fight, seeing what they can get done as everyone starts to move on through. 8-Bit, they're making these wide, long rotations, and again, they found themselves a safe path to go in towards just south of Ruins. They're going to be coming up against Trusty Process when they go for the fight. Let's see what they can get. There's a little bit of a dodgy pincer for SGE coming in. They have players at the back of them, but they are just going to sail on by. So now they can focus back towards the fray against Pain.
So far, John, Synergy have come into quite the firefight themselves. They've got pretty decent cover here where they can move backwards and forwards, but like you say, they've had to be careful there. Circle pops, they are still in it, and they have a pretty decent position. What they're going to have to be careful of, though, is Elementrix coming down from Everest there. They will have high ground advantage, where they'll be able to watch down on these players from below, scout the area. If one of them's got a sniper, they'll be very, very sure to know where everyone is located. And information, absolutely huge in this game.
Wow.
If you inquire that early for the circle, it's going to be really good. So much water in this final circle, though, John. So there is limited land here, and wherever the circle pops next, there's potential for a lot of swimming, a lot of these players to get very, very soggy very quickly.
The most impactful part of the circle is probably not the fact that there's a load of water in there, although that does play a huge factor, Blank, but the fact that the land is divided so heavily by it. Crossing the water is essentially a death sentence. If you don't have the appropriate cover, if you don't have the right name, the right position for the rest of your team, it's going to get so tricky, and it's going to be very hairy as everyone starts to crash down on the southern bank.
8-Bit, despite taking that long rotation to the north-hand side, they've already just swung themselves like a yo-yo down to the south side, but they are fighting a lot of teams currently. They've got 2 teams either side of them. Blind has scattered them out. Blind seems to be just having basically Xperia being that bit of the scout right now, which is absolutely fine, and he's going to find out what's going on. But he is really like razzing it through right now. Is he looking for a compound?
I'm going to be able to try and find something. At the moment, though, it looks like Orange Rock, actually, who were the previous roster for Indian Tigers, coming in, of course, qualifying for those global prelims. They are going to be holding the pretty decent spot out of Ruins on that southern bank, so they have got a nice place to work with. But making this rotation now, everyone goes into the circle, and it's crunch time over in Sunken City as well.
0 degree. Although not in the circle, John. I've been picking up a couple of kills here and there, a couple of knocks, so they've been doing a very good job to guard this as the players have tried to make it into the circle on the southwestern side of the map. Really what I think Gaming Hub, sure, they've got a good position here on the northern side, but it could change at any moment, like you say, John, because we can go to 1 of 3 spaces when this final circle comes through.
It's going to be pretty tricky. 8-Bit, again, playing Edge Gang. Brilliant stuff coming out from them. They're playing soft edge, which means, of course, that you're sort of playing towards the edge of the next circle, about halfway between you and the next rotation. It's quite tricky sometimes if there's a hard shift that can really play to your detriment, but if you haven't already got a foothold in such a dangerous circle, it's probably the best strategy you can employ in terms of maximizing your chances.
Assassin there with M24, that's going to be pretty dangerous later on. Blind will be going out in 16th place. That's unfortunate for them. Surely we'll see them again in match 2, though. Synergy E, they have spent a lot of time in this position. It seems like they're just very, very unwilling to move. But now they've got a couple of teams around them. Elementrix there have made their way down the mountain. They absolutely have to know where this team is. Must have seen them.
Oh dear. 8-Bit finally coming a cropper on the rock that is Seoul.
Poo-poo man in the car, just moving it away. Don't touch my wheels, mate.
Oh dear. What a name.
Perfect.
What a name.
Absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
You know, what I'm hoping is if there's a lot of water here, I hope that he's able to flush away the rest of the teams, to be honest with you, and when he does finally make his way in. But this is a lot of teams, 15 currently, 54 remaining as well. So there is a lot of teams available. That is That is a brutal circle.
That is
for match
just
one,
horrible.
Group C and D, they were watching the games yesterday. They were praying for good circles, and it looks like the gods have not responded in kind.
Soul picking up 2 kills. They will be able to take down 8-Bit, who were eliminated now in 15th. Unfortunately, that soft edge not working out for them as they made that northward rotation a little bit too overzealously. But there's very little cover. There's one building on the northern side of the river, so anyone who is over there, they are going to be trying to vie for that. That's Gaming Hub, that's Soul, looking for that house potentially. There's 2 loot crates in this next circle as well that still have yet to be claimed. It looks like Gaming Hub are going to go for one. Mortal already making the rush over towards that building, so they will have a foothold. They're still rolling with 3. They started with 3. They still got them all.
8-Bit made 2 risky rotations there. Both didn't pay off in the end, and they will go out in 15th place. Only 1 point awarded them for placement points, so they are not happy with that, despite getting to one of the very last circles here. Elementrix currently just going from hard cover to hard cover, staying nice and safe. 0 Degree still kicking as well. All the kills coming through now, and you've got to expect it, John. And look at this, you got Team RG right in the middle. This, like you said, you get in the water, things do not go well for you.
Especially with an overlook like Orange Rock have currently. A team that, of course, has so much prestige in this region. Well, the roster does anyway. They changed their team name, but they're going to get shot down by Hydra trying to pick up a couple of kills, unfortunately. But Hydra have a fight of their own to contend with. This is going to be a brutal circle. The players are dropping left and right now, Blank.
Yeah, Orange Rock currently in the high tower.
They might have to move on the next circle, though.
Potentially, they might not be able to stay there for too long at all. And really, it's still a good position for them because they can actually rack up quite a few kills, but you want to get those 20 points, those 14 points for second place. What a spray from the boy on top. Perfectly positioned in the prone. There's no way you're hitting that. You're basically just clipping the top of the helmet.
Hydra losing yet another player. It's just one left standing. He's managed to get the first aid off, but there's no way he's going to be able to push through. Just has to try and out-heal the zone. Not going to be able to last too long, so they're pretty much down and out of it. Soul, they have control of the northern bank as well. Gaming Hub have a position around the bridge that still remains from the northern side as everyone continues to get crunched on forwards. But on that southern bank, it's so difficult for anyone to find an opening. Everybody's just getting pelted away. Team RG, they've managed to actually get across, and fair play to them. Nicely done.
Hydra, despite all the water around them, is not going to get very much done here. MSX having a bit of a kettle war from the teams all across the way, seeing who can create the most mist, most steam. Orange Rock still quite happy here, but at some point, like you say, John, they will have to move. And coming down from this hill, they are going to be a massive target. Most teams will know where they are after they've been giving them such a hard time. Christ alive! Look at that yoink! Absolutely down to the bottom left there. That's not good for business at all.
What a circle to kick us off here, Blank, for these two groups.
He's right on top of him! Of course he's saying him,
stuff.
Bashy, what you playing at, mate? Kills some, trying to go some kills. He's in the pajamas. He's put to sleep, son.
He's going to go Betty buys, unfortunately for him, but the rest of Pain are still live and kicking. They're still going to try and push in, but the damage is done already by Zed. They are just going to occupy the same building for now, but there's so many teams around, they can't hang about. They do need to try and push in and get a little bit of respite, get a little bit of safety, heal up, get a little bit of loot, and try and get position for the next circle, which is, again, really, really tricky. Soul have already made that rotation. You can see Regaltos has started to make the cross. He's going to be the foothold that they need to try and get across the river with the rest of the squad, as everybody else is starting to move on forwards, and he pops out the water, immediately takes a kill.
Here comes the nade though, John. They're waiting for it. This is a risky one. Drops out the door. Actually does pick him up, but it's Viper. On the backside, it's not Cold Blood at all who takes that, but he will take the fight anyway. It's just now Red. He's trying to stay alive in this fight. God is pretty much dead here. Goddess Tots. Not good for business whatsoever. Viper's still going.
Whoever takes control of this set of buildings has huge strength into this circle. It's the only cover available.
Yeah.
And with the shoreline so dominant as a feature, it's going to be really tricky. Soul, though, they're on the northern side. They have now managed to make their way into this next circle as well. Gaming Hub, they're in the water. They're swimming across. And they're trying to get a little bit of zone as well for themselves. 20 players alive now, Blank 19.
Red, dismayed, will crawl away. Looks like Orange Rock, like I said, coming down that hill proves very, very difficult. Only Sandu will make the crossing. MSX, the dude, though, also down there as well. Sandu just desperately trying to get through. Cold Blood looking for the shots, not quite finding them. He will spot the dude, though, on the high ground. Soul in a bit of a firefight themselves with the players in the water. Mortal is down. as is Viper, I believe.
Yeah, not looking too good for now for them. One player still alive, it's Regaltos.
So many players with so many teams with very little players on board right now. Pain Esports doing an excellent job with 3 players alive. Unfortunately, a deal will drown. Pressure a little bit too much for them. Mortal, Viper also out.
Mortal out.
And Regaltos done as well. That will be 8th place going to Team Soul.
They are going to go down, unfortunately. It was a very tricky rotation. This circle is so brutal. At the moment, though, it looks like Pain have still got dominance of the compound that they've been fighting for.
It's a savage way to start a game.
Might be able to get there. RG still with a horse in the race, but they do get spotted out in the river. Not going to last too long, I'm pretty sure. So it looks like Gaming Hub actually drawing a lot of fire. MSX, they have a lot of damage being sent their way as well. That should be a kill being picked up. 10 players now alive as we get down to the final set.
0 degrees. Still going though. Red, although he did crawl away from that one, he's still putting the Pain onto Pain. MSX have split up though. 2 players in the circle. Looks like what they're going to go for is position and placement. I mean, 20 points and 14, nothing to scoff at. 10 points for 3rd place as well, John. That can go a long way to keeping you on the scoreboard. Pain now going to make the move. They are one of the only teams with 3 players still alive other than Pain Esports. Sorry, Pain are the Pain Esports, what am I on about? MSX still making their way in. Everyone's just dropping the gear right now. They are going for the snakes, and to be fair, here with so much like very rough terrain, you can definitely go for it. Gaming Hub finally going down. 4 teams now remaining. MSX pretty much just looking to try to get one of those top 3 spots. Poo Poo Man taking control of the ridgeline.
Goodness me. What I can't get over that name.
He's spreading himself all over that ridgeline.
Yeah.
Making sure it's all covered, all locked down.
Just covering it everywhere.
Yeah.
Making sure that his team has the
upper hand.
The upper hand.
When it comes to recall spread. Viper now. How many grenades does Viper have? Has his team just been like lobbing all his grenades over to him? Look, take them home. You could be our explosives guy, all right?
Absolutely.
Red finally down. Now, for only 3 places remaining here. Pain in a really, really good spot to take it. Like I said, John, they are pretty much the only cover. Evoke actually going to make a cheeky little rotation here through the house, through the blue, back again. Not sure what he wants to do.
He wants to get out, I think. That's what he wants to do.
How do I get out? All the windows are boarded up. Who would do this?
Who would do this to me? So rude. But they're going to have plenty of meds. Pain, as I said, they have control of this compound, and it is the dominant force in this next circle.
Yeah.
Of course, everyone is going to be crunched.
Oh, Mr. Hyoju, that is a risky run you're making.
Next time around. But now, all of a sudden, Elementrix, they've just been gifted a great circle.
Oh, Poo Poo Man, go! Yes, son! Gets a lot of shots in there, but now we'll have to change positioning. But this ridgeline, so strong, and in comes the nades. Viper's been throwing about 1 million grenades now. He's got to be out of them. There's only so many he can hold on the belt.
Not too many boosters now for Mr. Hyozu. Has to just
M29 though in the pocket.
Yeah, he does have it in the back pocket. M249 is so capable of just rattling off all those shots.
Oh, look at that! That's what we're talking about.
There we go. Elementrix now starting to lay down the pain. Managed to land the shot. See what else they can get done. That's the DP on the back of Mr. Hyozu.
This guy is just running some of the most OP spray guns in the game, mate.
He's a gunner through and through, isn't this guy?
He's got it on lockdown. Elementrix have made some really good rotations this whole game, and now in this last circle, MSX just desperately hanging on for dear life. The dude, though, he could really be a thorn in the side for Pain here.
Might be able to, get a rug, something like that, lay it out.
Perhaps.
Go bowling.
You've got to crawl in. You can't stay there.
You can't.
Look,
you better do. You've got to what? Get in. No, okay, fair enough. It looks like he is gonna.
He's alive still.
Poo Man goes down, finally taken out by the Zova. In comes the spray, Mr. Hyozu with the M249. Sorry, they're able to claim it, pull it down, and fantastic turn up for the books for them. Elementrix takes the first.
All I'm saying, it was just elementary for them. It was so easy. Controlled that ridgeline perfectly. M249, I'm going to say it did come in handy, but the spray control on Mr. Hyozu, like an absolute samurai, just looking down the iron sights. He basically, I think it was Evoke who got sprayed down in under a second there.
Yeah.
As he literally came up, went for a run, and he was just dead.
You see, people use the DP28 for long range or for mid range spray for suppressing fire. I've called it, but I've said this before, and I've called it a budget M249, and that's for a reason. The M249 does so much damage, it has such great accuracy when you control its spray, and it's almost unbeatable in terms of its DPS. You can manage to lay your hands on one, because they only come in those loot crates as well. It's a similar value, I would say, to an Orb in the right hand. Obviously, Mr. Hyozu, he's got golden hands, and they are going to be able to light up the path for them to take victory.
Absolutely, John. He really paved the way forward for them now on the ridgeline. Mr. Poo Man doing an excellent job to keep them nice and supported there. I think that really for me, this extended fight for Pain with SGE, because Synergy just wouldn't move. They were just like a rock, staying still pretty much all the game in that position on that ridgeline. Once they got it down, that's just where they wanted to stay. And it caused little problems for Pain. Sure, they held the only compound in the last circle, but like you're saying as well, John, they wanted to get out of there. You saw Evoke looking, I think it was Viper looking for a way out, looking to rotate on the left-hand side, but he just couldn't make it.
Yeah, it was unfortunate for them to try and get that. As I said, the compound was great until they had to move away. You see it time and time again, leaving those compounds really very, very treacherous. The circle favoring, of course, Elementrix greatly in the final shift. Finally, they got a little bit of respite. But that was, honestly, the circles that game were absolutely crazy. Constantly divided by water. Everybody had to make those decisions. The first ones really to be so indecisive about it, 8-bit. They were going north, south, north, south, north, south.
All over the shop, weren't they?
Finally got taken down by Soul on one of those rotations, who did pretty well, actually, all things considered, to try and actually get across and get up to 8th position. But unfortunately, they didn't get out of it.
No, sadly. I think what's very interesting, though, is the fact that we had 63 players, which is actually the entire lobby, because we were -1 player from the Soul squad from the beginning of the game. They made it all the way to around Phase 4, Phase 5, and no one had died. So what we saw yesterday from South Asia was some very smart rotations. It looks like we're seeing the same here. So all these players obviously been scrimming with each other, obviously been preparing for the Pmco tournament, a very prestigious event, and they all want to perform very, very well in it. And so far, all I'm seeing is some spectacular plays from the South Asian region. Really, really impressive. And especially to come into the very, very first match of the day and perform like that. Wow, that is very, very cool to see.
Yeah, although the kill counts were pretty evenly spread across a lot of these teams. No one had a super standout game coming through. But in comes the scoreboard. Elementrix with 28, a nice chicken dinner victory.
Yeah, 28 points, 8 points ahead of Pain, coming with 20.0 degree. Actually did a really good job when it comes to kills. Obviously only got that 8 points for placements, but 15 points total. MSX making it all the way to the top 3rd spot. We'll get that 10 points for that one with a 13 of total. 12 for Gaming Hut. Orange Rock actually doing insanely well with 9 kills, 12 points total. Reckoning Esports 8, Soul in 8 as well, and they will be just at the bottom of the very first scoreboard.
Orange Rock actually coming out in 9th there, but the kill count's just racking up for them. Highest kills in the game, so they did really, really well over in that Ruins position. Nicely done for them, but they aren't going to be topping it out just yet.
When they had to leave, it was pretty much all over, because walking down from that sheer cliffside, it's just not fun for you whatsoever, is it?
No.
So they come down, everyone spots them, they know where they've been. For our match number 2 with Group C and D, as we can see the playing path coming over from the northwestern side, coming all the way down to the southwest. What kind of options are we going to see here, John?
Honestly, Sandhawk's so small, so close together that no matter what the playing path, normally you're going to get an availability to go pretty much anywhere, especially with a playing path like this. Nowhere is off limits for pretty much anyone. The only time you really see things not quite go like that is if it's a super heavily sided plane. Maybe if it's sort of, super northern, then maybe you won't get people going to Tambang or Bantai.
That's a scary parachute, isn't it?
He's going on. Oh god, look at that. Yeah, no.
Terrifying.
There we go. But teams dropping around, trying to find their spots as everybody going to isolate themselves. Looks like 3 teams going pretty close to boot camp there. We'll see who's going to be able to win it out.
Also looks like 8-bit have pretty much secured Paradise Resort to themselves. Yeah. Circle, very forgiving also. Pretty much all the map encumbered there. And really, teams off in the northwest side of the map, they can quite easily make their way down. Here we can see boot camp once again, the point of so much contestation. You see it in your own games at home as well. You drop here, you are almost certainly going to get fired upon.
Yeah, Orange Rock fighting off against Trust the Process. There's a team over in Lobster Building in the center of boot camp as well. So it's going to be pretty tricky to take this fight. Sandu actually in a relatively decent position. The high wall on his right is going to protect him from the covering fire from the team in the middle, so they can take this fight relatively protected from Psycho. Sorry, from Blind.
And Carrier bring up the rear as well, but it looks like Trusted Process absolutely know what's going on here. Marvi has entered the building. Blind on the side. Look at this. Excellent
They can see his feet there.
Yeah. He's going to take off the toes there. Got to be painful. Not sure it's going to kill him, though.
Can do a lot of damage. If you don't realize it in time and the spray connects, then you know it's about 5 or 6 shots that need to land, and then you're going to go down. So you have to see what they're able to do. But they do fall back. They give ground. Decent strategy. You don't want to be taking a fight this early.
Blind, often Lobster, like you're saying, John. They're going to control that for the time being. You've got X-Spain in the back, holding down the warehouses, and Psycho currently just being the scout here. He is the sniper for the team. For the 2 assaulters currently in Lobster, so they'll be their front guard essentially. Trusty Process basically on a little marathon of themselves. Looking like they want to get their steps in today, get that 10,000 done, keep them healthy as they basically run around the entire exterior of boot camp.
These teams in boot camp do want to get a little bit of a hurry on, because you've got Nepali Honi over on the opposite bank, over on the northwestern island, and just the standard crossing is to swim across and get a little bit of an overlook over that boot camp position. So if you're still fighting when that team comes to crash, that's going to be pretty difficult for you. You've got Pain as well to think about, who are over on the other side, a little bit further south this time around, but they are still there. They can still make that swap up. Only one team went over to Painan. No one getting opposing banks, so nicely done for Synergy. They should be pretty happy with that one. Seoul over towards Quarry, just on the western side of it as well. Hydra just on the eastern side, as everybody starting to think about where they might want to be for the next circle, because this first circle is very, very forgiving, especially over on Senok.
One team that I am looking at here, John, is Synergy. I think from last game, I think they made the initial rotation was fairly decent. Unfortunately, they were very hesitant to move after that. So what I'm looking for here is for this team to make that good rotation at the beginning and then move away from it as well when the time comes. Because sure, you can have a good spot, but if you're unwilling to move, to switch it up, at some point you are going to get clumped upon and just crushed by a team who absolutely knows your position and just takes an off angle on you. X-Spain currently just still in boot camp. Orange Rock, Blind, as well as Trusty Process, not quite met each other yet. Playing a little bit of a game of cat, mouse, and rat.
Looks like Nepali Honi as well, making that cross now over the river. So the team's still in boot camp now, starting to become a little bit more at risk as it goes through. But they are pretty well covered, and no one really taking too many risks. So it is nice to see that these positions are being held relatively strong for a lot of these teams as they start their rotations. 8-Bit have Paradise Resort all the way to themselves, as we touched on earlier, Blank. They might get challenged out by Gaming Hub on this rotation that they're coming from Mong Nai, where they landed. Zed moving a little bit further southwest from Tapmok, so they are over towards the bank, maybe trying to control the bridge, watching out for Synergy. Synergy, of course, is actually relatively ambiguous because there's 2 teams called Synergy in this team. SYN is Synergy Retribution, for people wondering, and then SGE is actually Synergy. So I'm hoping I'm going to be able to keep track of which one is which.
We'll call Retribution. We'll just call Synergy. How's that? Fair compromise?
Okay, but which one's which? Now that I just told you, without looking at your notes.
SYN is Retribution.
Is it?
SGE, Synergy.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Thank you. I did my research.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
But for anyone at home who's wondering why there are 2 teams that we're calling Synergy, that is the reason.
And you also didn't stay up all night looking at a lot of different papers that you were given the day before.
Yeah, no, I mean, we'll try to keep that one covered. But for now, a lot of teams actually just south of boot camp as the exit's starting to come through. Seoul now starting to take a fight near Quarry.
Careful, Mortal. That's an SKS. That will start to take a couple of chunks out of you if you let it. But it looks like that Seoul are still running with a 3-man squad. So we are wondering where Frost is right now. Unfortunately, he just hasn't joined the game yet. Perhaps connection issues are a thing, but I think we'll get on with that one. We'll see how Seoul does for the rest of the game. Currently, they have been doing fairly well considering it is just a 3-man squad. Not too bad at all.
Yeah, they had some pretty decent rotations, pretty decent positioning when it came to the previous game. Unfortunately, the circles were really, really bad for pretty much everyone involved. So the fact that they even managed to get 8th is a gift.
Miracle. Yes.
Miracle, maybe not miracle. I would say good planning, good strategy, good rotations, and pretty good fragging as well. But there's only so much you can do when the circles go like that.
Indeed, indeed. Anyway, we are going to see some bit of pain again. These are the guys that were in the final circle with Elementrix. NHN currently controlling the hillside. We've seen this hillside time and time and again. It is very, very strong. So much hard cover up there in the form of the rocks and the trees. If you can control that, you can basically control a 360-degree angle. Look at that, Evoke already taking some shots to the butt there as he tries to shimmy his way down the hill. Get out the way, because Mafia Ninja, he's both from the Mafia and also a ninja. He's coming at you.
That's a pretty dangerous combo there, because not only is he super skillful in combat and in the ways of the arts of deception and being able to hide in the shadows, but if you mess with him, his entire family's just going to come and mess you up as well.
Absolutely, yeah. And potentially he can get you a couple of things delivered on the down low. Just like you get an SKS just delivered straight to your feet.
Oh dear.
We had a floating sky yesterday. Maybe that was from him. He was just delivering it.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe it was. 8-Bit, they've made their rotation down southwards, so now they have a compound just to the east of Boot Camp, south of Paradise Resort. Gaming Hub still playing relatively far closer to the edge. A lot of teams moving very, very central. 2 teams still over towards Boot Camp, one in that central spot. That's, of course, Blind, who were in Lobster to start with. Everybody now finding their feet, finding their placement as it comes towards moving in for the next circle. But there's still a long time to go for Phase 2.
There really is. Again, we're seeing a similar approach to what we saw last game, John, which is where the teams taking their time, playing it definitely not relaxed, because most of these teams will be absolutely on their toes as they're watching out for other teams coming down. Orange Rock look like have now left Boot Camp after they fully looted it. Looks like they weren't going to get anything else done there. So, you know what, leaving it, not a bad idea. This is absolutely what you need to see. You need to see teams who are no hesitation in making the correct rotations to a more favorable position. But look at this, though, John. You can't quite see it on your map right now, boys, but on the map there is currently about, I'm going to take a wild guess and say about 8 or 9 teams all around Boot Camp. Blind currently are still there, as is Trusty Process.
I'm counting 8.
Yeah, so a lot of teams all chilling around here. Trusty Process also has a very, very scout, very, very far away from him in Shagar, who is all the way down south side of Boot Camp by a lot of teams. You know what? If I was him, I'd be absolutely prone on the floor inside a bush.
At the moment, I'm looking at Palihoni, who are spread out over the hillside and actually going to clash with Retribution up the top now as they go in for the fight. Looks like Mafia Ninja, he's taken a couple of bullets, but in come his troops. There we go, his family is there.
Yeah, here comes the familia of NHN. Curio taking a couple of shots here. Hitman on the... It's a Hitman versus the Mafia Ninja. This is going to be one hell of a battle.
Goodness me.
Must is down. He pops out the side. Lovely spray. Does take him out. Will finish him off. Curio also down here. It's just Hitman left. And the only thing that's hitting him is bullets.
Nepali Honi come out on top of the fight. Brilliantly done, managing their position nicely. They now have a lot more control over the hillside, but with all of the teams right around them, there are massive amounts of risk of getting third-partied here. They need to be careful. They need to be on the lookout and heal up relatively fast. Already
the bullets flying past. NLR2 does take a little bit of damage. They will be looting up now. Definitely will be in a good position when it comes to medication. Synergy now in a little bit of fight of their own. A little bit on the way from NHN. It is pain across the way. Obviously, these guys did quite well from last game. They are trying to control this compound just outside of Painan. Fast shoot. Grenade comes through. Molotov keeps them locked down. Can see the feet, though. Synergy running around wildly. Ryder somehow survives. He can still see the feet, though. Doesn't know he's been shot from. It's from underneath the shack, mate.
Oh, dear. Kilson living up to his name. Synergy trying to skirt around now. They've lost one, but they have the wall for cover. Not too sure they want to take the rest of this fight, however, because, of course, you've got Nepali Honi up the top of the hill, so they might just turn around and have a look and pepper them down. They might have to push into the compound, and that's not where you want to be, too close to pain.
And this is what we saw, actually, from the Wall at One. I'd like to see, if you were watching the European region yesterday, you saw a lot of teams like Deforma Meditari take a fight, and it went fairly well, and then they realized, actually, we've already done the damage to this team. We can now leave. This is something that Unique does very well too. And I think this is also a position where Synergy, potentially they can leave here, or even Pain can leave now and go for a better position and not risk being third-partied, because people will have absolutely heard the blast of the gunfire, the thunder over the hills.
8-bit relatively close to Orange Rock at this stage, but the cover is such in Sanhok that you can be quite close to each other and not even know that anyone is there. They should be right, especially with 8-bit holding the compound, Orange Rock holding the hillside. They're going to be pretty happy with that. You've got VLT as well over towards the east, and Team RG as well, just a little bit further out. Gaming Hub pretty much have the north to themselves, and as Zed are over on the other side of Paradise Resort, but they are relatively safe. The next circle, this shift, is really going to dictate who's going to have the power. If it goes south, then Nepali Honi can continue their dominance, but if it heads out east, that's going to be a different story entirely. If it heads north, then it's anyone's game.
Yeah, because currently, like you said, John, if it heads north, there's not really many people up there. We already saw 8-bit relieve themselves at Paradise Resort. It's only 0 Degree, who are just on the western side of Paradise Resort currently, and those 8 teams are starting to fan out a little bit more past boot camp. But you know what, Blind, they're sitting very still. They're like statues in boot camp. They do not want to go anywhere. They're very happy with this position so far. There is actually a loot crate on top of Trusty Process, who have also been there all game. And I mean, if you don't have to move, you don't have to move, right?
Exactly that. See,
I like this trench coat this gets going on. It's like he's got wings on his legs.
The previous victors from the last game, of course, starting to move in. They're on the other bank across from Painan, so they do still have to make their way over. Should be relatively uncontested, though. This next circle really quite big, so they are going to be pretty happy. Seoul on the western side of Quarry. This makes the rotation potentially quite difficult. They will be funneled through a choke pretty much no matter where they go, unless it's a hard shift west, in which case they will be in the circle already. They should be all right, but if they have to move anywhere, they don't have the option to rotate east.
Yeah, which is very, very difficult. And if they do want to rotate east, obviously they have to go through MSX. You're completely right, John. This is such a hard position for them, because they will be funneled whatever happens right now. Lovely shot there from Synergy. Vashu with the sniper, straight headshot. That will be an immediate knockout. Orange Rock, though, they're still currently just combing the hillside. 8-bit, they found themselves a nice little home there. Blind have just been chilling here pretty much all game, just to process as well. Yeah,
they haven't had to. It's it's no point in doing so. Leaving a compound is very hard, as we say. They are going to have to do it now, though, because the circle now a little bit further to their east. Gaming Hub are going to be very happy with this one. They will be really easily found themselves just controlling the northern side for now. The hills, though, allow a lot of teams to be able to group up. The tricky rotation is Seoul. Look all the teams in their way. There's just so many people there, but the fight going over with Pain in this compound, Synergy starting to come in now.
Yeah, getting a little bit of revenge on them, straight down the middle. Easy peasy for Servi there. Micro Uzi is out. It is silence, but I mean, this guy's already made a very loud entrance. Out goes Evoke, and out goes Pain. Synergy, despite getting shot in the foot from underneath the shack, not sure what was going on. They definitely weren't confused there whatsoever. Walking in and cleaning that one up nice and proper.
The teams now leaving boot camp blind have had to actually move their feet now. The rubber is going to hit the tarmac and they roll on out, seeing what they can get done. All of these teams now starting to spread out on that southern side of the circle. Seoul might just be able to creep in. They will be contesting with Hydra and Elementrix as well for that southern position right on the edge. Nepali Honi, they have to move in through 8-bit.
This is the difficulty, John, now, because we've so little teams on the northern side, and the quarry basically slicing the bottom of the circle in half. You've basically bisected a lot of teams and forced them into a decision of having to move through this western side right now, which is just going to funnel them. When you funnel, having only 3 members in your team, it's pretty painful because you already lack one angle there, and you want to be watching so many different areas in that situation. Luckily for a lot of teams as they come into this final circle, that it is quite hilly high grounds available to them. So if a team does want to hit up a couple of these compounds, because this is a very highly populated area when it comes to compounds for Sanhok in one of these final circles, they will have the opportunity to do that.
Elementrix, they're making a southward rotation. It looks like they're going to go around the south of Quarry, potentially. If they do. No, instead, no, they divert themselves. Now they're going to roll straight through Soul and see what they can get done. Now a little bit of a fight for the center of the circle as VLT clash with Orange Rock for one of the compounds in a great position. But Team RG, they've heard the gunfire and they're at the top of the hill. You can see them just taking a little bit of position. Not sure they want to engage into this fight just yet, but it'll be a tricky one to do if they do opt to go for it.
Yeah, really, for here, the smart thing to do was just be wait for VLT to have a fight with Orange Rock, right? Because after that, they can move on in and try and just clean up what is left of either team which survives the onslaught, which is about to happen.
There's no reason for them to start fighting, though, however, so I imagine we're just going to see a little bit of a standoff for at least the next phase, if not two. My thoughts are over on the southern side here. Actually, Elementrix have opted to rotate through Quarry and try and go that way, but the fights between Hydra, SGE, and Soul are about to kick off on the south side.
Yeah, Hydra's having absolutely none of it. Synergy, they rolled on in there. They just had a good time versus Pain, but now they're having to force themselves in this compound where it's very difficult to fight. There's so many areas that Hydra can pop out from with that excellent cover being provided from the wall. They do have a player down in the form of Vashu. He is now smoked, so he's a little bit covered. They're trying to create a little bit of a smoke path to get to their teammate. If they get to the wall, they have a little bit of an easier time. Servi makes the spray. Doesn't quite hit him, though. Will make the dash across. Pfizer will have seen that.
Oh, dear. That's not the cross you want to make there. Will go down. Unfortunately, that's them eliminated. SGE are going to fall, and that allows Soul just to find the position that they were taking before. The next circle, though, it's a hard shift northeast. And again, Gaming Hub are super happy with this. The fight for that central compound between Orange Rock and VLT continuing to rage on, but 8-Bit now coming into third party.
8-Bit, like you say, John, they are prowling up behind them. VLT can spot Orange Rock. Orange Rock took so much damage here. Marvi all the way on the right-hand side left his team very much alone. Surprisingly, Assassin did not spot that on the side of his screen. It was very fast, very little momentum. Obviously, we've got the nameplates on the top side, so you can't blame the lad. RV, however, they're all just waiting in the wind. Nice little nade there onto Orange Rock. Prince also coming through from 8-Bit. High ordnance from the 8-Bit team here. Orange Rock carry on the floor. Existence will have some eyes on the hill, but will it be enough? 8-Bit might have just the idea to just leave now.
Push forwards and 8-Bit dominating the top of the hill now. Trying to just clean it out and get another position. Nicely done by them. Soul actually crossed over the central road of Quarry, a relatively open rotation, but there was no one really there to capitalize as Hydra had to move away. Elementrix as well were way ahead of them. So now they're going to find themselves in a little bit of a crunch as three teams going to be rotating relatively parallel on that asset. But on the western side of this next circle, there's huge amounts of conflict as the battle rages on over toward Barn too.
Yeah, Sandhawk, a relatively small map, so it's even smaller here than what we saw in Erangel as all these teams are crunched together. Team RG aren't quite able to nick that kill away from the enemy team, but they do have 4 members still remaining, which is very, very strong for them coming to one of the last circles now. Really, Gaming Hub are in a very good position towards the end of this circle. They've been on the northern side for the most of the time. 0 Degree have also made a rotation in. 8-Bit now in a fight of their own. Ash finds the kill onto Mafia Ninja. NHN, despite taking a lot of fire from a lot of teams, is still up and kicking. Out comes the nades, though. Lake still on the floor. Doesn't quite hit anyone as of yet. Ash does go down. NLR2, very, very accurate there. Lays the fire into them.
The rest of Soul as well taking a fight with Hydra. They've already got 2 knocks, but they're taking damage themselves as Mortal goes down. They have to push in and try and get something, but they're looking pretty shaky at the moment. Hydra, the same story as well going on the south side, but 8-Bit still trying to control the top of this hill. Nepali Honi fighting tooth and nail for it. Gaming Hub super happy as, again, they don't have to take any fights whatsoever. They make their way into the next circle, and they will be able to control the northern side.
Vipers now are in the grass for NHN. They have got the fangs out and are ready. Smokes come through to cover the approach for the team. Nades also coming though, but they are in the blue. Ted comes across. Will he take the fire? They will. Goes down. Will not be able to get to his teammate. 8-Bit are being shredded apart right now, John.
But you've got so many teams waiting in the wings. Blind, of course, the team that landed over in boot camp. They can start to fan out as well. Hydra, Soul going and Soul going down. Hydra in a really shaky spot as well. MSX over on the east, but finally the circle moves away from Gaming Hub. They're going to have to move down south now, and everybody's going to be vying for position. This is a deadly circle, as pretty much no one's already in it.
0 Degree been playing a little bit of a game of just playing around this circle very much on the side right now, playing edge, and it's really worked out for them. But they've been making smart rotations all the way around the side. They will be coming into contact with Gaming Hub very shortly, though. But Blind, still in the game. Remember, they were in boot camp, so they've not had far to go. NHN Alex takes a big hit from that nade. Not quite out yet, though, but has to get the first aid kit through quick. Oh, he's just shimmying it in. He's just about on the edge of it. This boy is so nervous right now. You got to admit the sweat is dropping.
Oh, goodness me. He's going to shimmy straight into 8-bit, but they're taking a fight with Blind and the rest of them as well. VLT has started to chime in onto it as well, so they might just be able to snake it on in.
Oh,
in come
no.
Blind. They're pushing onto the position. They might even not know that NHI are there. Are there. It seems like they figured it out. Finally, they are going to be able to get through, and that's going to be the end of their story. Unfortunately, not going to be able to make it further forward. Still in it are Elementrix from the previous round. Of course, they were the winners, as everybody's now going to
Get the smokes away! You don't need those! They don't do that much damage at all. You just get a little bit of a bop on the head.
They can't. There's no way that they can raise
RV goes down.
Here.
Nick does finish it out. X-Bane, I think they've got a lot of explaining to do to that boy when it comes through. Blind, currently moving down the hillside. They will go for the res. Unfortunately, when the players will go down, 0 Degree are actually out. Massive firefight on that top side. That's 4 players all down there.
The next circle has just popped. It's all the way over to the east, and Elementrix down on the south side might have a little bit of control here. Team RG on the eastern side as, again, Maximus X, a team that we saw in final circles last time around. Assassin hits the headshot straight away. Nicely done. I think he might see something as well, maybe.
No, he doesn't quite see it. And Nick was bobbing his head up and down. He was basically asking for that one. But here, Evos will get his teammate back up. Really got to wonder, do they have the meds to sustain this one? No, yes, they do. Pretty decently stacked up, actually. But look at that. Helmet is pretty much off. Armor is hurting as well. They've got to make a mad dash there down this hill. Look how much the circle is ticking for. They can't stay there for very long. Does not hit the sniper shot, though, which will give them a second lease on life. Blind does go down. Nick also on the floor. Evos, I think he's going to try and get a first aid kit off. No, he's just going to make the mad dash, and that is Blind out in 6th. Not a terrible result, but not the one that they were looking for.
Velocity still in it, but they have to push in through Elementrix. They find one frag already. They managed to get it down, but they have taken one in kind. They are going to confirm that kill there, but that's going to alert Mr. Hyozo just about what's going on. Solo player left for Elementrix.
Remember, this was the guy who did so much damage last round. Able to put his team in the first place, but as one player, it's very difficult. Does get a big hit there. Assassin, very low. He is knocked on the floor. Mr. Hyozo does make the shot. He has hard cover around him as well. He just needs to make sure he survives the circle. He is still within it. Can use the first aid kit, but Assassin will be providing so much info here in the third person. Aladdin and MJ making their way into the circle. Obviously, we still got MSX. 4 players still alive. Trusty Process also moving down.
Oh, Aladdin's waiting here. He's not going to thirst it. Hyozo with discipline.
Oh, RG from behind as well. He's fighting a lot of teams. Take that. Have that. Deal with that one whilst I try and deal with VLT. That is very dangerous.
Oh, that was a huge nade.
Massive nade.
That was a huge nade from Mr. Hyozo. He's really zoning down the southern side, working it absolutely beautifully. He's got 2 rocks to either side of him. He does need to push a little bit further up the hill, but he might have a little bit of a chance. We'll see what he's able to get done. But for now, everybody just jumping about. He's still going, indeed.
Takes down Riser. The dude, though, looks like MSX are heavily geared. They have lost one player. One player is knocked as well. Omega and the dude's still alive and kicking. Trusty Process just slowly moved over from bootcamp into this final circle now. VLT, looks like that player from VLT has actually been rezzed or is still on the ground. Is that Mr. Hyozo? No, Mr. Hyozo's still in this one, but he is dangerously on the edge of the blue. He has to move in now, but healing. VLT gonna know he's there. Don also crawling up the hill. Oh, this might be the final moments for Mr. Hyozo, despite the excellent run he's had. MSX looking in a really good position though here, John.
I don't think he's moving. I think he's just trying to out-heal the zone for now. If he's stimmed up, he might be able to get it done. If he might be able to make the run, but I think he's just waiting to try and ladder up. For the moment, though, Velocity on the southwestern side are looking for it. There he goes, the dude on that squad coming in from the north, but I'm going to continue to go for it. Mr. Hyozo's still in the fight, but he's maybe looking to try and move in, still healing.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a couple of kills there. MSX Omega are down again. Trusty Process got a nice little line down here. Vector coming through, such a powerful weapon. Look at the fire rate on that thing. That'll take you down in seconds. Mr. Hyozu
He's made
still
it.
alive. He is in. Really, he's just waiting now. Made his way up to the 4th position in placements. This is an excellent run for him. Assassin lacking a helmet. Will he get the heal off, though? That's the question. Yeah, now he has to go in, though.
Hyozu goes.
Hyozu now down in 4th. Not a bad position whatsoever. VLT, they've been crawling up the entire time. Now just Assassin alive. He is lacking equipment big style. Saxleo will take down Aladdin 2. Now just Assassin alive. Both the other players from VLT are currently knocked on the ground. RG puts the hurt into Trust the process.
Team RG, though, not in the greatest position. Trust the process at the top of the hill. Oh, the question is, Team RG, can they clear out more of these kills? Can they get a few more points on board? Assassin is there. He's super sneaky. He's trying to confirm it. He's out in the blue. He knows what's happening. No way he gets in, but he gets the point for his team nonetheless. And now it's Trust the Process pushing in for a 1 versus 3, but one of them's down into 1v2.
Just Ivan left alive. Has the M4, very accurate, finds the first knock. One other player is down. He can potentially finish this one. He's looking for it.
Can't.
Does not find it. Trusty Process absolutely did that. Made it to the end. Trust in the other teammates. Obviously, not the highest kill game, but they were in boot camp. They played it carefully. They didn't have to move, rotated around to that north side and moved down through. We are going to have some highlights on screen for you now. Let's check out exactly what happened in that game.
All of those rotations, super clever.
Really clean game there from Trusty Process in the end. It was very concise, very calculated, made it way to that last circle. But I'm really impressed with Mr. Hyozu overall. I think he's going to be one of our top fraggers within this Group C and D split right now. He's done excellently well to make his way into that last circle. Also, just the calm nature to be out in the blue like that, healing, and trust that he will have the right time, because I think what he was waiting for is that the VLT news down there, right? So he was waiting to make sure that they had made it all the way up from the circle and they'd completely forgotten about him before he did make his mad dash back into the circle. Obviously, in the end there, I think that Team RG, maybe a little bit of misplay. They had a lot of hard cover available to them, but they just weren't able to put the hurt down into Trusty Process in the end. Even though Trusty Process were basically in a hard clump for themselves, they forced a lot of plays into them. I think there was a bit of a wide peak that was made at the end by Ivan too, but then again, there's a huge amount of pressure on you as a solo player versus 3, so you can't really blame the guy too much.
No, it is pretty difficult, but I have to say, for that entirety of that game, I didn't see a rotation that I would say was questionable.
No.
I would say that every single time I was looking at the map, everybody was making the right decision. It really came down to the firefights and the skill, and that's exactly what you want to see in PUBG Mobile. It's right, like you want to see everybody trying to give themselves the best opportunity to do incredibly well.
Yeah,
but
it's,
you know, some teams, of course, someone's going to have to lose a firefight in the end.
Indeed, and it's crazy because I think we saw a completely different set of teams in the top 3. Obviously, we still had Elementrix in there, but the top 4, there was a very, very different set of teams there, which leads me to believe that this is a very, very close matchup between all these players of the total 16 teams we have with us today in the Group C and D. So what you can expect is 2 more excellent games coming your way in match 3 and 4. We should have some scores to you very, very shortly. But for MD and John, what can you expect from Miramar, do you reckon?
I think that, again, if the rotations are as clean as they were over on Sanhok, I think I'm expecting a really, really good game of PUBG Mobile yet again.
Yeah.
To try and see how they can play more around that terrain. But in come the scores as Trusty Process top it out with 25 points.
Not bad at all. Reckoning coming in second with 21. Velocity Gaming there at 19. Max X 12. Blind in 9th. despite going out quite late there, quite early, sorry, they still got those 3 points, 6 placement points with the 9 total, and it looks like it's basically similar there from going outwards into 8th place, which is Gaming Hub at 6. Gaming Hub had a really good read on the circle there, but when the time to rotate came, where they were actually very, very much in the right position, I think they were hesitant and they didn't quite get the best positioning as they came down from the northern side. And here we have 9th to 16th, as you just saw on the screen there. Here are the total scoreboard points, which is actually super interesting because now we get to actually see how this strikes up. Entity Gaming still in first place with 76 points. Elementrix already on the board though, right at the bottom there with 37 points.
That's more than half, and in 2 games, of course. That's a really good turn up for the books. So they might just be in with it. Oh, it's not more than half, actually. I take that back. They're double that, you get 74. So they are within striking distance of Entity Gaming for sure.
Yeah.
They have a really strong performance moving forward, so a nice average coming in from them. Of course, some of these teams will have 2 points. Some of them will have 2 matches played. Some of them will have 4. So everyone who's playing today will only have had 2 matches so far.
As you can see, it just trickles down from there right now. KO at the bottom of the 24th with 11. Pain Esports, after having some pretty consistent games, still in 18th, obviously there's 2 games to go. And Synergy currently having a little bit of a tough time there. Retribution right at the bottom with only 2 total points.
Yeah, you're not going to be too happy with that. But in come the kill leaderboards. Still from Xbox, it's Ronak sat at the top from yesterday's games. Of course, a lot of these guys will have played yesterday. They have 4 games on the board, so it's unlikely that these will be changing until the end of the day. 11 kills, a very decent performance.
A nice team Mega X there though, with Snacks and Swag both with 9 kills apiece. You can be sure though, in the next couple of games, we're most likely to see this leaderboard change a little bit. We see some of these players start to get on the board.